Charizard, probably the biggest Pokemon, well, in Pokemon. Even though it's everywhere, we can't deny how amazing Charizard is and how well it does in the Pokemon TCG, especially when it comes to value. Today we'll be going through the top 10 most expensive Charizard cards to ever be printed in English. Alright guys, we've got quite a good one today. We're going through the top 10 most expensive Charizards of all time in English, okay? Now, I've already done videos in the past of like what I think is the best modern Charizards or the best modern Charizards to buy. I've never really covered all of them, going all the way back. So it's interesting that today we'll be going through just the most expensive to ever be printed. Now, before we get into this list, I want you guys to comment below, what do you think is the most expensive Charizard? Alright, let's get into it. So over on TCG Player, we have here the top 10 most expensive Charizard cards ever printed in English. I mean, just look at this artwork already of all these Charizard cards. These all look incredible. So we know we got some big special cards to go through today. Let's see if we can be surprised. Now, I don't know a huge amount about a lot of these Charizards, especially from the sets they're from, because I took a massive break from the hobby. So I missed quite a few generations. All right, so it's gonna be interesting for me, to be honest. I'm excited to get into this. There are a ton of amazing Charizards, as we can see here. I mean, like, look at the prices of these Charizards are incredible, right? They're crazy. And of course, we've got the modern era ones that are coming in here. You know, we've got the shiny big boy Charizard from Hidden Fates, you've got the one from Champion's Path, and obviously you've got the new Charizard from 151. I have a feeling that none of these come close. So let's see what's going on. Coming number 10, we have the Charizard Expedition Holo Foil. And as you can see here, guys, right, $156 ungraded, 8 grand in a PSA 10. Crazy. These are like the average prices. It says here the e-card series that began with Expedition in 2002 marked the end of the Wizards of the Coast era time publishing the Pokemon TCG, but it's also remembered for the dot codes on all the cards, which where it was compatible with the Nintendo e-reader. So that is pretty cool. It says the 3 sets of the English e-card series were made by consolidating 5 Japanese sets together, resulting in Expedition being the largest Pokemon set at the time with 165 cards. It says the other 2 sets of the series, Acropolis and Skyridge, which huge fan favorite, I know Skyridge is, topped with the 186 and 182 cards respectively. Because these sets were so large, rare cards from these series often outprice older cards from sets like Team Rocket. This is a beautiful, stunning Charizard. I mean, the fact is we're starting for number 10 of a card that's 8 grand is crazy in the PSA 10. I mean, raw price is actually lower than quite a lot of modern era Charizards, which is quite pricey, but it is that graded price. Now we're on to number 9. We've got the Charizard EX from Fire Red and Leaf Green. I love the borders. The borders look incredible. $332 raw, 5,000 in a PSA 10. Now it's quite interesting because this in a PSA 10 is less than the one we just looked at. I mean, look, the one we just looked at was 8 grand, but the raw price was 156. So take it as you will. I mean, the raw price, yes, it's more expensive, but the graded value is a lot less. I don't know which one I would prefer. I probably would prefer the one that is worth more than graded, but this is still a nice one. We have here, arrived in English in 2004, Charizard EX from the Fire Red and Leaf Green was the first multi-prize Charizard card ever printed. So that is quite interesting. Like I say, personally, I think I would take the other one, but this is still a pretty good one. Then we've got the Blaine's Charizard from Gym Challenge First Edition. So raw, 483. Again, PSA 10 is less, 4 grand. I mean, still 4 grand's crazy, but that's actually less than the other 2. Now, I don't know how you would choose it, guys, but I personally think that so far, number 10 could be higher, right? Because it's 8 grand, but we'll carry on, okay? Guys, here the Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge sets, both printed in 2000 on the Gen 1 Gym Leaders. Hey, look, I love those sets. They're fantastic. I mean, Blaine's Charizard is a beautiful card. I remember actually having this in my collection, I mean, what, over 20 years ago? I mean, it was absolutely crazy. I don't have any more, but it is a beautiful card and beautiful sets as well. But like I say, personally, I think that it should be number 10 and on number 8, but let's carry on. Charizard XY Evolutions pre-release staff. So yeah, this is going to be quite interesting. Doesn't have an ungraded price. That's actually quite interesting, but graded is 7 grand. I mean, wow. I mean, I think raw prices probably fetches a few if it's just for staff. It was released in 2016. The staff pre-release version of Charizard from XY Evolutions is the newest card on this list. So, okay, we're not getting anything more recent than that. Evolution celebrated the 20th anniversary of the Pokemon franchise by including reprints of cards from base set. So it says, while the normal version of this card is relatively common and affordable, the special version with the XY Evolution set symbol stamped on it was one of 4 promo cards that can be found in pre-release kit of the set, with just one card per kit. Pre-release version with a staff stamp in the lower left of the art box is even rarer, as it was only given out to event organizers. That's actually quite interesting. So 7 grand. Not bad. Right, then we got the Charizard from the Legendary Collection. Funny story, I used to have some of these cards, and when I was younger, I genuinely thought they were fake. Like, legit. I thought they were fake back in the day. But this is still a nice one. I mean, look at the price of this one. Okay, this is fair enough. 670 raw, 15k in a 10. Wowza. Now we're getting a big jump with this one. The Legendary Collection was a reprint set containing cards from Base Set, Jungle, Fossil, and Team Rocket. No surprise then that the most beloved card from those sets was, of course, Charizard, right? Yeah, so this set is absolutely crazy, and to be honest, this is a crazy looking card. 15k, holy smokes. Shining Charizard, Neo Destiny, in at number 5, first edition, of course. Raw, 1.2k. PSA 10, you're looking about 10 grand. Now, again, the graded version is less than the card we just looked at, but the raw price is a lot more. So this is actually quite an interesting one. I do like the artwork of this card as well. I always love Shiny Charizard. Printed in English in 2002, this was the first card to depict a shiny Charizard, which makes it especially sought after by fans of the Flame Pokemon. Charizard's original shiny coloring had a lavender tint as represented in this card, but it was replaced by a darker ash black coloration starting in Gen 3. So yeah, this card is absolutely stunning. You know, 10 grand though in a PSA 10, huge like value in a raw card. Like the ungraded, it's actually pretty good going. This is an extremely awesome card. Only number 5 though. Alright, Expedition Charizard. It says for position only. I guess it's going to have this little stamp on it to get that value, as it were. Average price ungraded, 2k. Not currently graded. I don't know, maybe there's none graded in the PSA 10. That's actually quite interesting. Before Expedition was released to the public, Wizards of the Coast created test packs for internal use. The card in those packs, marked with the text for position only, were never meant to be seen outside of Wizards of the Coast, but some of them have made it to the secondary market. Among them is FPO version of Charizard number 39, the third Charizard card of Expedition. Overall, pretty good. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know whether or not I would put it on this list because we don't really know the value of the PSA 10 graded version. Yes, the raw is nuts, and I would assume that if this did get a PSA 10, it would be worth more than the cards that we've already seen on this list. But it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one where to place this, but I can understand why they would put it at number 4. It is a awesome looking Charizard. It's very unique with that text boxed on it, but nonetheless, 2 grand for a raw card raw is pretty good. Charizard Skyridge, number 3. So this I know is a lot of people's favorite Charizard. Now, I like the look of it. I think it's very cool. I do rate it. Raw, we're looking at about 1.5k. That's pretty good value raw. And then PSA 10 is nearly 11 grand. That is bonkers. And I would say this is definitely up there with, some of the best. And I can understand why it is number 3. It says, just like the Charizard cards from Expedition, the Charizard card from Skyridge was a rare card from a large set, which made it extremely difficult to pull. It's also a secret rare, meaning its card number is higher than the advertised number of cards in the set. Now, we get that all the time now. Back then, it was a big deal. Tough card to pull, from a really expensive set, a really difficult set to get hold of. But, it's definitely worth it. I would say, yeah, this is for sure number 3. Charizard Star Dragon Frontiers in at number 2. This is actually one of my favorite Charizard cards of all time. I absolutely love it. With 827 raw. Okay, that's pretty good going. But 18k in a PSA 10. Holy smokes. This is a beautiful Charizard. Like I say, it's actually one of my favorite. I prefer shiny Charizard artwork than I do normal Charizards. I just think it looks cool. Now it says here, Darkness type Delta species shiny. Few Charizard cards can claim one of these exceptional qualities, and only Charizard Star can claim all 3. Those qualities have made Charizard Star one of the most unusual and beloved Pokemon cards ever printed, and its influence extends all the way to present Charizard variants like the Darkness type Terra Charizard. Interesting. Beautiful cards. 18k in a PSA 10 is nuts. Raw price actually less than what I thought it would be compared to some of the others, but it is a huge one. Right, guys, what do you think number 1 is going to be? I think we all have an idea of what it could be. Let's see if it is. Base set first edition Charizard. I mean, is it going to be anything else, to be fair? Raw price, $3,800. Look at that PSA 10 price. PSA 10, 181k. Now, this has dropped. Now, I do remember during the big Pokemon boom a couple of years ago, This card was really expensive, and it has dropped a fair amount even in a PSA 10. I mean, but we can't deny this is insane. You know, this is absolutely insane. It says the other cards on this list might go up or down in rank depending on their condition or who's bidding that day, but this card belongs to a league in its own. First edition base set Charizard is the most valuable Pokemon card ever printed in English, and its price has jumped several times in the last few years, with one PSA 10 copy selling for 420,000 in March 2022. There we go, that's completely different to the 181. It's crazy. You know, base set Charizard was the card that made 90s kids fall in love with collecting Pokemon cards, and you never forget your first love. Look, I used to have base set Charizards. It wasn't first edition, but I used to have base set Charizards. I think I had like 5 in total when I was younger. And I used to have Blastoise as well, but I never had Venusaur. It was the only one I was missing, and I couldn't get one. But this is a beautiful card. I mean, come on, guys. It is so iconic. It's unreal. I think it is by far the most iconic Pokemon card to ever exist. You know, and it's doing really well. It's still doing, even though it's dropped. I mean, 420 grand sold last year. Over a year later, we're now looking at under 50% of the price it sold for last year. We still can't deny how big this card is. Those are the top 10 most expensive Charizards of all time. I mean, some of them are absolutely amazing. For me, number 2 takes it. I think number 2 is just absolutely stunning. But we knew that the base set first edition Charizard was going to be the most expensive, even though it has dropped over 50% in the graded value over the past year. But to be fair, a lot of those I would probably change in that list, mainly because would you judge the cards on their raw price, or would you judge them on their PSA 10 price? For me, I would go for the graded price just because it's the card in its best condition possible. But there we go. But if you want to know what the best modern Charizards to pick up right now, then make sure to click on this video right here. And if you watch more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are approaching 9k. Hey, we're even approaching 10k. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. All right, that's it from me in this video. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.